So, in this video, I want to talk about sharpening and some of my theories and habits and things that I've learned over the course of a couple of decades of work, and maybe offer some information and some commentary that others can apply to their shops and their work environments. So. I have always been a firm believer that you don't have to invest a lot of money in sharpening, that your skills are more important. And I've always focused on that. So, like for instance, with my grinder here, I spent very little money on this when it was new. I think I bought it for $10. I took the guides off of it. I never use any jigs. I do all my grinding by hand. I try not to make a big deal out of it. It gives me a lot of flexibility because when I'm not working with this, I don't even mount it permanently and I can just move it around. And the disc lasts a long time. I have a coarse one. Sometimes I switch it out if I have to buff, but it's really no big deal. And so I would say for making your own blades and for molding planes and rabbet planes and stuff like that, you should have a grinder. But something really expensive and fancy is not necessary. So, I'm going to move on to stones. I have my first stone. I bought this in the late 70s for $2. It's almost worn out. It's going to break someday and be totally unusable, but I like keeping it around, and I still use it to shape molding planes and stuff. I have another old carborundum, and what I did was I wore out the corners. This is very uneven. It's not flat anymore, but I use this for the ins and outs on all the curves on all the molding planes that I've been making lately. So something a little bit more modern that I bought at I believe it was Harbor Freight are these really thin diamond blocks, I guess you'd call them. And this coarse, medium, and fine. I'm finding them really, really handy. I like these, especially because I think the three of them cost less than $10. I also like bringing these to my jobs because I work in the field sometimes. These are really good for touching up a chisel or a small. I use most of the planes that I use when I'm working. It would be a low-angle block plane or a block plane, and this is a really good size for those. You could use them with water. If you have to just touch something up real quick, you can use them dry. I have these as well, and I actually don't like these. Are more expensive, and I don't like these as much as the discs that I just showed you. But these are good too. If you take care of these, I abuse these, but if you take care of these will last you as well. I think I paid about $40 or $50 each for these. The value is not the same as the less expensive discs. The other thing that I bought years and years ago, back around probably 83 or 84, was this honing jig for planes and for chisels, plain irons and chisels. I really like it. It's simple to use. It's got the adjustments on it to give you the micro bevels. A lot of value in that. And then last but not least, I have my Japanese water stones. These were a really, really good investment that I made. And so I think I paid about $45 each for these. I bought a 1200 and an 800. You can use all four sides of the stone. I like to keep them in a tub of water so that they're always ready to go when I need them. And what I've done in the past is I have some cinder blocks outside, and when these start to get worn out, I'll take some water outside, put it on the cinder block, get everything real wet, because it uses the liquid as a lubricant, and rub this on the cinder block, and the cinder block will take off the high spots on the stone, keep it a little flat. Try not to be too aggressive with that. You don't want to break these. These will fracture. I did have I think it was a 6,000 grit stone at one time, which I found difficult to use. I didn't use it a lot. and it broke on me. The other thing I have is some slip stones, which I use for carving gouges and also for to do the finals shaping and sharpening on the irons for the molding planes that I've been making lately. These are not that pricey, but this is like a minimum setup. But what I want to emphasize is that in the space of a few minutes, you've seen everything that I use to sharpen all my planes, all my chisels, all my household knives, everything that I own. I sharpen pretty much with what you've just seen in the last few minutes. So what I believe and what I sort of recommend for others is that you stay away from spending a lot of money on sharpening systems and diamond stones, and I think people in general are going to benefit from improving their sharpening skills with basic sharpening stones and techniques, and getting away from the expensive systems that you're going to end up using as a crutch. I think that you're also going to get a lot of fulfillment by doing your sharpening in a more traditional way, and then transferring the work that you do with your sharpening stones into your woodwork, and you're going to derive satisfaction from that. It's all possible to do. Before, there were all the fancy diamond stones and the sharpening systems with the tubs and the liquids and the pastes and things. Woodworkers in the 1700s and the 1800s and even later than that, they did beautiful work. There are people in this world that are still doing beautiful work with very, very simple tools. Simple. And so if you're at the point where you're starting, or you're in the middle of your career, or wherever you are, I think it's just important for you to understand that you don't have to spend a lot of money on sharpening. The most important thing is sharpening your skills, sharpening your sharpening skills, rather than spending a lot of money. So that's really all I wanted to say on the matter. This is not a tutorial on sharpening. There's plenty of videos on that. I may do one in the future. I think mostly what sharpening is a head game, and that you need to get your head in the game. That's more important than spending money. So there's plenty of other videos on how to sharpen your stuff. I don't need to be telling you that. But what I can tell you is that you need to apply yourself with those techniques, and then you're going to move forward with your work without spending a lot of money. Thanks a lot, everyone. Stay strong and have a good day.